Have a roundness that makes my foot go even more in a certain strenuous direction during Indian style cross-legged positioning. I call it the lotus position, but it's not. So it's not a half lotus either. But yeah, crazy to hurt the tendon like that, you know. And it had happened before when I was like kind of just chilling out in the car for long periods, kind of like a state of confused depression or something. Just really knowing what I was doing. Maybe also just a lot of crazy head games, shadow work stuff, you know. From just all kinds of crazy experiences. But yeah, the feet not having the ability to really navigate the ground and being able to feel it very sensitively, I feel is kind of a strange detriment, you know. But my feet are kind of not digging the cold very much either, you know. If my feet aren't warm, I feel like my whole body is just the coldest ever. As soon as these suckers are warm, the rest of me feels so good. And I've had some callus wear down, so my bags weigh way too much, you know, and the sidewalk felt like it was bruising my feet last time I was walking with it without shoes on. But that could be because my feet are so used to walking on a flat surface, the surface of the sole of the sandal I was wearing, that they don't really understand how to walk on the ground. Because the ground has all kinds of bumps, and textures, and cracks, and movements, and other ways to splay the bottom surface of the foot in order to catch and maneuver in different manners. And the feet are just amazing connection channels to the waters of the earth and to the planet in a giant way. You know, they're moving us through frequencies like nobody's business. There's a way to walk that's a lot more like the movement of water. And this is a walking pattern or style that matches the following syllable structure in which I've been talking about. That the previous syllable is a beat with the syllables that came before it. That leads to the curvature of the very next syllable. And so each one of those movements can all be really followed instead of led or directed or even known about, as if we feel very sensitively the words, the breath, the flute song, the banjo, the energy motion, anything in life, we can find that perfect rhythmic pattern that works with the simultaneous motion of everything around us the entire moment, entirely. And with the feet, it's kind of the same thing with the surface of the ground. As I'm feeling the rocks and the stones as they particularly lay, which is always very different from step to step to step to step, because now there's different shaped stones, they're standing in different directions, they're different sizes, different arrangements. Some places there are not stones, there's seeds, there's branches, leaves, sticks, pine needles, you know, whatever it is. There's cactus. There's all kinds of things to be aware of, that's for sure. It definitely brings you into a form of hyper-awareness if you're a person that doesn't like being stabbed in the foot or have their feet broken open and torn and now have trouble walking for weeks, months, who knows, you know. It brings you into a present moment meditation for sure. As you continue to bump your feet more and more, you're going to become more and more aware of all the different rises and falls of everything around you. And eventually, it may become extremely easy for you to do walking meditation in a way that shows you how the world moves in an effortless manner for you and not against you. That in any direction that you may move, most likely, unless you're on a tiny little needle point, you're going to find a pattern that matches the exact shape of your body when you're moving in some way. And that'll take a great sensitivity. And I'm sure even for the strange oblong-shaped folks out there, awkward individuals, I'm sure there's a pattern in which they could follow the flow of themselves too that would match them very perfectly. This may look different in symmetry to other people, but that's just a difference in shape and size and whatever that is, and so that'll create a uniqueness to flow, a direction of motion, and everybody can find the great utter fluidity that has to do with their particular shape, surely. And if you cannot, then, well, I guess that's the finding of that shape already. There you go. You rest within the only shape possible for your being, and that's the most utter fluidity. You got it? But perhaps there is another way to open up even more realms of movement and fluidity that have to do with the subtle energy bodies that could even kickstart any of the units that happen to be not cooperating and communicating the transference of energy that causes motion to happen with great fluidity. We could find out, we could learn together, we could be scientists and experiment and document our findings through direct experience and clear communication. By being utterly authentic, open, and honest, and presenting all the data, we can find out a conclusory item or conclusion. we can solve an issue or problem, answer a question we have in some way. And in this particular direct focus, it has to do with being able to step. So if you can step to move all of your body, even if you only have one arm or whatever's going on with that, if you're able to move with your feet on the land, this is a teaching or understanding being shared that could be beneficial for you to hear. And anybody else, it could be beneficial anyway, because it does explain every other scale. And so that's something that we'll be seeing constantly, and I'll be reminding us apparently lot of, is that with the other things we've been showing, this is the same following and flow. They come to the following the breath, the following the light language, the following of this English language, the following the motion of the body, the staff flow, the flute flows, the everything flow. And so this particular flow has to do with laying the foot down, much like a Tibetan Buddhist walking meditation. Of course, we can speed ourselves up eventually as sensitivity becomes more accurate and focused, more reflexive and instinctive, because we're so naturally used to doing this as a discipline or focus that translates into the natural movement of our reality, becoming more than simply habitual, but set into the patterning of how we constantly move. We may find that we were doing this already rigidly in a different manner of focus, that yes, we were doing this, we just hadn't come into the awareness of all the other possible ways to move our energy. And so now that we've found so many different ways to move our energy, we found different routes of greater efficiency available to us because of all the angles of view we've been given through this very simple thing called movement. And having the feet on the land, it really gives you a strange, amazing energetic awareness of the things around you in a really amazing manner. So you can feel how those curvatures happen with the rocks. And because of that bounce off of those rocks at those particular curvatures or syllable structures, that chord shape that was that full step on reality, you now know the next step, which has the next curvature, which leads to the next step, and the next curvature, and the next step, and the next curvature. And in this way, you'll find yourself moving through strange curvatures and patterns instead of straight line rigidities like airplanes may move. You move more like the birds through air, following the wavelengths and the energy lines and the patterns of the earth itself instead of the patterns of the sky, but in alignment with the patterns of the sky, as both of these things are reflective of one another in a really amazing whirlpool fashion that directly reflects in possibly an opposite spinning direction from the very center point, which strangely enough is us. I know, it's like, what? How can we do that? How are we in this space of no space in between these two amazing, immaculate, giant, macrocosmic spaces? And what does that even mean? The flame, the jewel that's in the lotus, the bridge between the heavens and the earth. How could we be this center point, this flame, this bridge that from our very center all of the heavens rises, and from our very center do all the waters of the earth come forth? How phenomenal would that be? What a strange thing that would be. What if you really are then the seat of awareness, pure awareness itself, pure consciousness and body, just witnessing this amazing cacophony of frequencies, this amazing symphony, this amazing, elegant, exquisite orchestra, this melody, this amazing painting, the phenomenal, perfect synchronicity, you know. And look at all of this here within the center, you know, to enjoy, to experience. Oh, phenomenal. And to know that there's so many other centers like you out there, holding this space, thousands of years of story and body, you know, singular beings, how phenomenal. Ancient stories, you know, perspectives of the stars. So simple, you know, these really amazing things. It's weird to have to wear shoes for so long, you know, have such weak feet, no callus on them. There's some callus still on them. I had quite a bit, but you know, even soles on the bottom of your feet. You know, you still feel everything real well. And your body learns to move with that great strength, though, to every step. Now the stones don't hurt you the same way. Right now, my feet are a little soft. Maybe the ground could bruise my bones. But if I walk with fluidity, no, don't worry. I walk by faith and not by sight. That's what they say, yeah. If I walk by faith and not by sight, if I allow the energy to guide me, I feel sensitively and present with me. It'll always move me to the exact right positionings. I won't step on a single thing that harms me. It takes a big discipline and a big diligence to be within this practice. For me, it didn't seem like it was possible for me with the muscle structure and the weight of my bag to really start such a practice of such patience and diligence, especially with Ray here. And I don't know that I would have otherwise anyway. But it's a wonderful thing to see in agitation, to be moved in frequency, to come very authentic and honest with me, to see that, yeah, you know, I guess I could slow it down while I grow, moving like feet a day because of how amazing crazy, you know. But I probably will surprise myself how fast energy comes into alignment when you come into trust. How amazing it builds upon itself, this trust. How amazing it is that, you know, the mind is flexible, the body is flexible. And if the mind is strong, something I come to song last night with myself, a beautiful mantra, mudra of life to come through, you know. The mind is strong, so too will be the body. It reminds me of experiences I've had where I've sat somewhere forever. And an experience I had where I sat somewhere forever. I've done other things forever, but this was an experience where I sat forever. And at the end of that forever, consciousness didn't make me sit there forever, you know. I came to the resolve of being there forever, holding the seat of consciousness, holding this amazing space where all of reality moves through my fingertips in this phenomenal mudra pattern. Man, watched all these dimensional realities move around me at the same time, gaining a beautiful reflection that had nothing to do with my experience personally, from the way I was experiencing what I was experiencing. But in a way, of course, we're all directly connected in synchronicity. So it's wonderful to be able to mirror reflections in all reality. And I'm sure something really amazing was happening if someone were to be viewing me as I was grabbing onto this amazing piece of reality that after I was brought into this awareness during the song, I hit the present moment with. It just comes instantaneous upon me, spontaneous. I don't really know when all of a sudden something amazing is meant to happen. I just happen to be in the right positioning for it's happening. And then I come into this place where I become rapidly aware of myself and really present and happy and spacious in certain ways. So I'm very here and very interested in being here. So I have a great ability to be here longer, you know, instead of like not really being too interested. So I just kind of get out of it. Like, all right, that was fun for a minute, but whatever. I'm like really in it, like, oh, super moment style out of nowhere. And all of a sudden I came upon this awareness that this energy was coming in, this giant energy, an entire reality, like a giant world, like the size of the earth, this huge wall of vibrational potential coming in. And all of a sudden, because my be one that's been weaving energy for many, many lifetimes, an awareness came upon me that I knew very intimately. I knew exactly what to do for some reason. I mean, none of my experience previous to me said anything about becoming soft in any kind of a way that would explain this to me in any manner. I mean, it doesn't make sense, really, for Ryan or myself or this being in this form, even with the many transcendental experiences in some way, to have known so instantly, so instinctually that this was occurring. But I knew to become extremely soft at that moment. I felt it. It was probably where this bridge is to me, which is, I don't know, 20 feet or so. You know, and I could feel it there, and I knew it in that moment that I had to become extremely soft in order to catch it. I had to catch this energy, or else it would miss us. Nothing would be soft enough to grab onto it like it was felt or velvet or something, you know. I needed to match that texture in order for it to sink in, you know. And so I became extremely soft, and that led me into a mudra pattern, into the breath, deep into the breath. One point of focus. Now, one point of focus was into this mudra pattern like this, as I'd seen all of reality moving through, as my breath moved through, as the very center of it, through the hollow point, like a toroidal field, but full of an entire reality it was. And it was very important to hold this, and so this was the only thing of interest to me, the only thing in which I wished for. This was the greatest thing in the world to me, to be in unity in such a manner and shape and form, to be able to be so wonderful in holding this amazing space for all of consciousness. What a great honor it is, and to be able to sit there forever and never do anything else, never go pee, never go shit, never eat, never say hi to anybody, nothing else. This was the only thing I would ever see again. That was the most amazing blessing ever. So I wasn't something remorseful. There was no regret. There was nothing like, oh, thank goodness, or oh no, I mean, or like, I won't ever be able to see this thing, or I won't ever be able to do that. None of these thoughts occurred at all in any way. It was so amazing a blessing that it was the only thing on the contextual chord shape of my mind. It was the only thing there in time. There was nothing else to bring to me any kind of rhyme or reason to move away from this amazing space that was happening. So I breathed deeply into it, becoming as a mountain. And I knew I would never leave that seat. I was so happy, you know, to be there, to be that being, to be that bodhisattva. I got to surrender his life in that way to an eternity of sitting in that place. That, you know, that I was so, you know, wealthy and grateful for the great honor it was to be able to be such a being, as to be able to hold that space forever, you know. Not everybody gets such a great, beautiful honor to be for the benefit of all beings everywhere, without one exception, as to hold such an amazing place, one point of focus, for the benefit of everything, you know. It was really great, wonderful, you know, thinking of all the many amazing masters in samadhi for hundreds of years, the body sitting there, not decaying, really, you know, a really beautiful way. In some way, surely, yeah. Very beautiful though, very beautiful. A lot of singing life there, a lot of amazing, auspicious story behind these amazing masters and what they've been doing. And for me, I was having the living embodiment of this occurring for me. And so I was like, oh my goodness, what a great, amazing blessing. What a great, amazing gift. So as I hold this space, you know, and really resting there, easy, no problem. Like the greatest result, easy. It's the only thing I ever wanted. There's nothing greater than this amazing gift that has been given me by holding this space. So I held this space so easily, so effortlessly. I mean, how easy was it? There forever, you know, this, wow, how wonderful. No breaking of focus either, no agitation to the left or to the right. Dead center, no shaking, no quiver, nothing, just dead center. Whoa. Amazing. It did it on its own, you know, all of a sudden I knew, And all of a sudden I did, and all of a sudden it was upon me. All of a sudden it was the most amazing thing in the entire world. It was the only thing I ever wanted, and it was the easiest thing to ever rest upon. And then all of a sudden it became very difficult to rest upon it. Why? Oh shit, I had to shit. And that seems very inopportune for somebody in the middle of somebody's kitchen. It's an outdoor kitchen. A little better to shit yourself in an outdoor kitchen than an indoor kitchen. But you're at the head of the table. There's a whole row of people, a giant long picnic table to the right, to the left, at the head on the other side, walking all around you. You're aware of these things, but here you are resting in this space, but now your awareness has come to two things. You're resting in this space, but now you know. I'm going to shit myself here, in this chair in front of all these people. And they are not going to take this well. They are going to know that I shit myself here, in this chair. And that I've done nothing to stop it. And I did it right in front of them. And I just kept breathing into this strange space without their awareness of what the fuck was going on with this guy who took one hit of LSD with them earlier at the table. So, being aware. I'm aware of, the consequences of all kinds of actions as well. So I could see that eventually I would be tipped out of this chair or rocked for it, and that I would not be able to hold this position forever, because they would not allow it once I had shit myself in the middle of the kitchen, So I was like, oh no, there's a big threat occurring to my forever position now. Wait, I'm resting here forever, how dare you? What will I do? Why would I have to shit at this time? Like, obviously I must shit myself. But damn it, when that happens, there's no way. It will be soon after that they stop me. So then what will be the point to have shit myself after I will be having to break this no matter what? If that occurs, I might as well shit somewhere. Oh my God. And so I decided I would shit myself somewhere else. Maybe this would work. I moved my leg. It felt like the movement of a mountain. I felt like my leg was moving stone. So this added a huge agitation to me. Huge agitation. Now I was sure I was fucking up. But I had begun the motion. What was I going to do? I've already brought it in. And I'm holding my mudra this whole time. Holding mudra. Breathing into the mudra very, very desperately. Holding focus with every sensitive motion. Very slow moving. Boom. 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 Until finally, I get to a space where I feel like I can retake a seat on the earth behind this thing, on this whatever, I can't remember, wood chipper, I believe. And I sit down on it, and I really have to shit, but I can't break the mudra. Because if I break the mudra, I lose my forever focus. I came to the resolve already, damn it. Very hard to break a being from the resolve they've come into, if you resolve to sit somewhere forever, and then immediately after it changes due to the law of impermanence or something, it's going to be quite daunting to you because you're in a resolve. You're like, wait, what the fuck? I'm doing this forever. How dare you? No! You lost your heroship, especially if you built upon yourself a heroship with it. You're like, wait, but I'm the most honorable being ever. This is the greatest honor. How can you take this from me? That may not be actually what's happening, because the reason that, you're doing it is because you care about all of consciousness. You think that all of consciousness is going to be hurt by you losing this now. You're like, oh my God, why? What is going on? I'm fucking up real bad. Damn my human qualities. I must shit now. And it's obvious that they will push me over. This is bullshit. How could I have stopped this? I must be a better practitioner. It's a wonderful agitation, I gotta tell you, having these kinds of amazing thoughts in your mind, because something's going to have to break you from your mountain focus. I mean, you were there for forever. But as it turns out, if you're there for forever for an instant, you're there for forever. So good job. You held the frequency. Happy-go-lucky day. Congratulations. Now please be on your way and continue living, breathing, and activating energy, empowering things. Experiencing, expressing, smelling flowers, growing. Thank you for sitting forever, but now, do something else. Anything else. Keep it going. Good job. I don't know who this is for, but fucking keep going. It's okay. Silence is cool. You can talk to somebody too. You can move. You can dance. You can sing. You can, well, again, smell flowers. You can bathe in a river. You can have sex. You can eat food you like. You know, you watch TV. I'm not saying you have to, but you can do these things. You just simply are allowed to be alive. And it's okay for you to do whatever you do without judgment. Whatever you do, come into judgment. Maybe it's helpful, point and focus, to just help you right your actions or refine your ways to more desirable traits and actions that are more beneficial for yourself and maybe others that are perhaps to be one day perceived as actually literally yourself. And no judgment to whatever happens within ignorance and whatever just simply happens. Because all of it is as it is in a really amazing, perfect bliss. It is consciousness, pure awareness, orchestrating itself for its highest benefit. And you are this as well. And so judgment can be released at any time of yourself, and you may find a spacious well to dwell within as well. So that could be cool. Being free from heaven and hell, as we say quite often on this show. And so you know, we're still continuing this role, and so I ended up peeing myself there on the wood chipper. But I did not let myself shit myself. Upon peeing myself, I became presently aware through the acceptance of urinating on myself in front of others, kind of. As they could tell, maybe, if they watched the pour trickling from my pants and all onto the ground during the whole entire process of a very long